Blessings, my friends and family. AVS here, and today we're going to be exposing Keir Starmer. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump, Spain, Europe, Tommy Robinson in America. There is so much to cover, honestly. Ilhan Omar, and much, much more regarding Restore Britain and all of the kind of politics that is taking place across the world. But to start off with, I want to show you this clip of Keir Starmer genuinely exposing himself and his motives whilst he hosts an Islamic Iftar. Okay, take a look at this.
But on Iran, I want to make clear the UK was not involved in the offensive strikes of the US and Israel, and that remains the case. As many of you will know.
Now, to put this into context, he is actually speaking in the presence of, well, let me show you how many Muslims are here and just which Muslims are here. MPs, diplomats, and community leaders were in the room, including the Palestinian ambassador, Hussam Zomlot. Now, take a look at this. If you don't think the United Kingdom is genuinely being controlled by wicked, confused, delusional people who believe in just some fairy tale, then take a look at this.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah.
Look how he's rubbing his arm. This is the Palestinian ambassador rubbing Keir Starmer's arm. Look.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا.
So yeah, and it's going to get a lot worse as we progress through the information that I've uncovered here. Now, I want to show you Donald Trump's response to this situation.
By the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made it for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
Yeah, definitely not Winston Churchill. We have a snake of a leader, Keir Starmer. And I want to show you this because no matter what your position is on the Iran war, Donald Trump has done a very genius move here. Donald Trump has done the impossible. He has boots on the ground in Iran, and they are non-Western. So these are not American soldiers. These are not British soldiers, but they are Iraqi Kurds who have stepped up and pledged allegiance to the United States. This is undeniably genius. So we've managed to get boots on the ground in Iran, and we haven't had to place any Western soldiers out there. So hallelujah for that.
It's big. A U.S. official telling Fox thousands of Iraqi Kurds have launched a ground offensive in Iran. Decimated, destroyed, defeated. All words the Pentagon used to describe Iran's various military forces on day 5 of Operation Epic Fury. Moments ago, President Trump touting in.
And what's very interesting is now even the British newspapers are accusing Keir Starmer of the following. Donald Trump has suggested that Keir Starmer did not join the attack on Iran because he is pandering to Muslim voters. And many newspapers have put this out now, even from their own perspective, questioning whether Keir Starmer is actually pandering to the Muslim vote. And in my opinion, he definitely is. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below, or if you're watching live in the live chat. Now, something that is very close to home for me, which is Spain, there's something very sad going on over there. Spanish schools are now sending their children to pretty much be indoctrinated by Islamic imams. And here's a little clip of that. Oh, and by the way, this is Seville, Spain.
De verdad, voy a vomitar. No puedo. Es que no puedo.
So yeah, it's very, very sad what's taking place in Spain right now, as these two leaders are genuinely embarrassing. Britain and Spain need elections ASAP. And I agree 100%, because if Britain and Spain don't get new leadership soon, I don't know if they're going to make it to the next election without something very terrible happening. And I don't want something terrible to happen, but it just seems pretty inevitable at this point. Do you really think that the United Kingdom and Spain can put up with such a left-wing Islamic pandering government for 3 more years? 3 more years of putting up with that. I mean, to me, that seems like a long stretch. Like yesterday, I had to drive into London to do something, but to visit my family as well. But when I was there, I walked through a certain part of London, and I'm not joking, it did not feel like I was even in Europe, let alone England. It didn't even feel like I was in Morocco. It felt like I was in somewhere else. Like I felt like I was in Saudi Arabia. Even though I've never been, that's how I imagine it to be. It was insane, genuinely insane. And this used to be a completely different area even 3-4 years ago. Now, Bridget Gabriel also said, Spain will be on the wrong side of history. Standing with the Ayatollah is unforgivable. Yeah, this is Spain. This is Spain standing with the Ayatollah. Like, what is going on in the Western world? This can't even be made up at this point. The world seems to have gone insane. And Donald Trump responded by actually cutting tariffs with Spain.
Everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases. And that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him, we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
So yeah, and I think that is actually the right move. Even though I'm in Europe and I love Spain, I do believe that Spain needed to be hit hard like that, because there is something very, very dangerous going on in the Western world. Now, hallelujah that the people, even in the mainstream media, have started speaking out now. But I want to show you this speech from Marco Rubio from 2015. And in my opinion, he hits the nail on the head all the way back then, all the way back in 2015. Take a look at this.
Tennessee would like to close on this matter. I think everything that needs to be said about the details of this deal have already been said. I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what is going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships, continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal, and they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. This is not just a work of imagination. It exists in the world today. It's called North Korea, where a lunatic possesses dozens of nuclear weapons and a long-range rocket that can already reach the United States. And we cannot do anything about it. An attack on North Korea today would result in an attack on Tokyo, or Seoul, or Guam, or Hawaii, or California. And so the world must now live with a lunatic in possession of nuclear weapons. And this is the goal Iran has as well, to reach a point where they become immune to any sort of credible military threat because the price of a military strike would be too high. And then they become an established nuclear weapons power. And never in the history of the world has such a regime ever possessed weapons so capable of destruction. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake. And I fear that the passage of this deal will make it even harder for us to prevent it. And I hope that there is still time to change our minds. But here's the good news. Iran may have a supreme leader, but America does not. In this nation, we have a republic. And soon we will have new leaders, perhaps in this chamber, but also in the executive branch. And I pray that on their first day in office, they will reverse this deal and reimpose the sanctions and back them up with a credible threat of military force, or history will condemn us for not doing what needed to be done at this critical moment in the world's history.
So yeah, let me know what you think about that, because I believe he really hit the nail on the head there. Now, it's great that America are not being led by Biden anymore, because that was a joke to the entire world. But now it seems as if the roles have reversed and America is the one in power, mocking the United Kingdom and the European governments. But anyway, moving on. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the following here. And once again, I believe he hits the nail on the head. He is one of the only people who has come out and boldly said this in the way that it needs to be said on such a big stage, in my opinion. Take a look.
President Trump has also been very consistent. President Trump has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons.
There you go. There you go. I want to play that one more time because he really gets it. He really gets it.
President Trump has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions.
Islamic delusions. Now, that is exactly what is taking place across the Western world now. Islamic delusions are being spread through schools even, as we saw earlier in that clip from Spain, right? Even children now are being sent on school trips to be indoctrinated by Islamic delusions, because that's what they are. It's not real. What they believe in is not true. It's a delusion. It's mental. And now it's being called out. Now, we as normal free-thinking people have the freedom to expose this. But what has happened is we're living in a world where anybody who has attempted to do so or has successfully done so has been labeled a bigot, a racist, an Islamophobe, to shut down the conversation and make people afraid to actually speak out and expose this cult, because that's what it is. And now that we have people on the mainstream media saying such things, the tide is about to turn in a very, very powerful way. It's been turning for a while, but now it's turning in an incredible way. So we should rejoice in these times. This is not a time to actually be sad. This is a time to rejoice because everybody is waking up. People are not afraid anymore. And the more we go through this video, the more you're going to realize right now, Tommy Robinson is actually out in America, you know, and the United Kingdom have been against this guy, the establishment, for a very, very, very long time. And they probably thought it was a good thing that Tommy Robinson has to flee the UK, but it has backfired. And now he is actually helping to wake up America. So hallelujah for that. Take a look at this.
I can't believe what I've seen today in Texas. I've come to Texas. I've gone to the, what's it called? The big mosque center.
Islamic Center?
Yeah, the huge Islamic center.
In Plano?
In Plano. And I can't believe, and then I went to the shops, and I went into the shops today. So you'll see a video coming up. I've come here, I've met influencers, I've met politicians, I've met YouTubers. I wanted to meet real Americans on the street. So I met up with a husband and wife today. She broke down crying. She broke down in tears because her grandmother was from Plano. Her mother was from Plano. She's had to flee Plano. She's been persecuted and targeted and harassed by Muslim males who have been imported into the country. She cried her eyes out, and I saw the pain in her today as an American. And I wonder how many Americans are aware of what's happening here. 330 mosques. 5 years ago, you had just over 200. The growth of the community. But I went into shops today. There's a whole row of shops next to a Christian church. That won't be a Christian church for long, yeah? But there's a whole row of shops. When I went into the shops, I said, "Hi, do you sell any non-halal meat?" No. I said, "So I can't buy anything that's non-halal." No, you can't. The next shop, all full of Islamic women's gear. The next shop. And again, all Islamic garments. The next shop. So every shop is changing. And I've seen this. So to Americans, I've seen this. And what happens is, like this lady and this husband, wonderful family, he works in Harley Davidson, she works in recruitment, decent, normal Americans, they've fled, they've left. Now in the UK, we call that white flight. That is when the English start leaving the town and the community. And she said that people were knocking on their neighbours' doors and say the house is worth 400,000, they're offering 450 or 500. So the money's coming in, they're buying up the community. I went to the housing villas that are owned by the mosque.
It's amazing.
And there is Medina Villas, yeah, named in after Saudi Arabia. I went and looked at some of the houses and videoed them today, so I'll have a video coming out. Mashallah House. Now, I don't know if Americans are aware of this is just the start. Now, these enclaves, which is what they'll become, because they're not here to integrate or assimilate. We know that by what's it called, Apex City? We know it by Epic City, by the plans they had for entire communities. And I've watched this my whole life. So, but to come to Texas from an outsider, if they take Texas, everywhere's gone. Yeah, this is the battleground. So Texas has been chosen battleground. But knowing, and I think looking at Paxton and seeing the amount he spent on his campaign, what, 4 million in comparison to the 100 million. Yeah. So I see today as a referendum. This vote is a referendum. The vote against Sharia is a referendum for Texans to decide that what they want. And if the public are overwhelmingly supporting the ban against Sharia, then that hopefully is going to give confidence to American politicians across the US to understand that this is the people's vote, to stand up, start speaking. I don't think you understand how bad the situation is in the UK. The fact you've got a caucus now of 42 congressmen already, when you only have a 1% Muslim population, your people are aware. It's took us 30 years. Not one politician in 30 years has spoke about Islam in my parliament. We've had children's centres blown up, 26 children. We've had terrorist attacks, soldiers beheaded. We've had 12 attacks stopped last year. We've had all these attacks of jihad and terrorism, and no one would speak about it. So the fact that you've already got brave politicians, you've already got brave commentators and influencers discussing this issue, you need to stop it. You don't want to end up like Britain. Don't end up like France. The thing is, you can look to the rest of the world. You can see the failures. You can't follow the same path. Unfortunately, they seem to be buying their way into some Republicans' pockets as well.
Tommy, we just passed the prop tonight with 95% of the vote, asking what actions do you think we have to take?
So we just passed the proposition with 95% of the vote. Steve said, what actions, what's next to stop the jihad? And I spent the last 2 summers there. I got threatened to be shanked in the neck by these Islamists in England.
Unreal, right? Unreal. Listen to that. In England.
Steve said, what actions, what's next to stop the jihad? And I spent the last 2 summers there. I got threatened to be shanked in the neck.
In England, that's happening. Yeah, it's mad.
By these Islamists in England. Saw the same thing in France. That road that you guys are on, to me, Europe's gone, other than the Eastern Wall. What can America do here to stop that jihad from taking over?
You need to understand that with Sharia law, so we're talking about Sharia law a lot, there's 100 Sharia courts in the UK. They don't need it to be recognised because their entire community will recognise it. So you'll have women being married in Sharia courts. It doesn't matter whether they've got paperwork or whether it's recognised by a government. They'll be doing it anyway. The police are not called to Islamic communities. What you need to do is you need to end Islamic immigration. Now, immigration is supposed to benefit the United States of America. Rapes, Germany opened their borders to Syria. Yeah, they opened their borders. Germany let in 1 million Syrians. So think about this. Joe Biden let in 10 million, maybe more. Yeah. Now, when he opened your borders, you've had Hispanic immigration, you've had Mexican immigration. Well, now you've had Syrian, now you've had Iraqi, now you've had Pakistani, now you've had Somali. They've opened your borders to an alien culture. It's a whole different ballgame. You need to prepare yourself for what's coming with this. Because
to answer this question, Arc Eagle Soul said Texas banned Sharia law while it's becoming a new Islamic state. What is going on? Well, the thing is, as someone who grew up in the United Kingdom, in London actually, and witnessed the Islamization of London, it's because they don't obey. They don't care about the law. They really don't. No matter how much people want to believe they care about the law, they don't. If it gets banned legally, they'll just keep practicing it until somebody literally forces them to stop doing it. And that's why. That is the reason why, my friend.
when Germany done that, in 2015, they opened their borders. 2017 to 2022, rapes went up 45%. 11% of the rapes last year in Germany were by Syrian nationals. 54% of the rapes in Germany last year were by Muslim migrants, groups of Muslim migrants. 77% of the rapes in Paris, Muslim migrants. No matter what country, 63% of the rapes in Sweden Muslim migrants. 90% of the convictions for rapes of children in the UK in groups are by Muslim migrants. 30% of the men who have been convicted for the rapes in the UK are called Mohammed. If you want to be like that, if you want this to happen in America, then carry on. Carry on with your borders open. But the reality is, if you want to stop it, you need to stop, and you need to be brave and fearless.
And it needs to go further than that, in my opinion. And let me know if you agree, because I'm genuinely interested. That's why I've opened up this platform and why I'm doing more live streams, so I can get live feedback and we can actually become a more close-knit community who share opinions and views, and we can progress freely as, you know, free people and share our opinions and views. So anyway, my question is, I think more needs to be done than just stopping Islamic immigration. I personally believe that the ideology itself needs to be banned. Every part of it that is incompatible with Western law, Western values, needs to be banned. And anybody who still agrees with those incompatible parts of the ideology has to be deported. That is the only way that this will ever be fixed. The only way. Because otherwise, what will happen is the ones who are already here will just stay here and keep pushing for their insane ideologies, going out onto the streets, trying to convert people, setting up their little stalls, not listening to the police, and it will just become a vicious cycle, and the next generation will inherit the same issues, but on an even greater scale. So that's my perspective. I believe that the ideology itself needs to be banned. And the reason I say ideology is because I personally do not believe that this is a religion in any way, shape, or form. I believe that it is a political ideology that has wore a mask for centuries and has caused danger and fear and anxiety in almost every place that has ever set foot. So let me know what you think about that.
And stop Islamic immigration. Now, when Donald Trump brought in what they called a Muslim ban, which it wasn't even a Muslim ban in 2016, if we had that ban, then 26 children would not be blown up in the Ariana Grande concert. Because a terrorist, Salman Abedi, whose father was a terrorist, who was welcomed into our country, was allowed to go to Libya for weapons training, gun training, and bomb-making skills. Now, if we had in Europe the same ban, just the same ban that Donald Trump put in, 280 more civilians would be alive that have died at the hand of terrorists. So you need to put your people first. You need to stand up for your people. And by doing that, you need to end Islamic immigration.
Exactly. Now, we have a lot more to go through, a lot more very interesting information to go through. First of all, thank you for the support. I want to let everybody know who does send a super chat that I do normally go through the super chats at the end of the live stream so that the live keeps flowing, but I will show the super chats on screen. So thank you so much for your support. I greatly appreciate that. And now what I want to show is this next post. And this is Ilhan Omar, okay? Ilhan Omar, I'm sure you all know who she is right now. She is, in my opinion, a danger to the United States and an infiltrator. But I want to show you these words because it doesn't become an assumption anymore when you hear her say the following words.
When I was in college, I took a terrorism class, and
is that a such thing?
Yeah, there was.
So there is a lab for that?
There was a class that you.
Do you go to lab?
No, we learned the ideology of.
I'm glad you do that.
Al Qaeda, hospital.
He's an expert.
You hear this? Are you hearing this? This woman is in government in your country, America. This woman is in government in your country, and she is telling you exactly what she did when she was younger, what classes she took. I'm going to play it. It's only 17 seconds. I'm going to play it one more time. And make sure you share this information with your friends and family, even with your government, because somehow she's still in your country.
When I was in college, I took a terrorism class, and
is that a such thing?
Yeah, there was.
So there is a lab for that?
There was a class that you.
Do you go to lab?
No, we learned the ideology of.
I'm glad you do that.
Al Qaeda, hospital.
Look how happy she is about it as well. This is insanity, and now she's in the West, in your government, advocating for this.
Is unilaterally dragging this nation into an illegal and unjustified war with Iran. As someone who survived the horrors of war, I know that bombs do not build peace or create stability. Military strikes will not make us safer. They will inflame tensions and push the region further into chaos. Every time we abandon diplomacy, we choose destruction. We know who will bear the costs of this decision: innocent civilians caught in the crossfire and young service members sent into harm's way. The American people are exhausted by endless wars built on false promises and paid for with American and foreign lives. Congress must reassert its constitutional authority. I urge my colleagues to vote yes to stop U.S. involvement in another illegal forever war. Thank you, and I yield back.
Now, anybody who has those ideas, who has attended these types of classes, do you really think that they should have the ability to even put their ideas forth in front of the masses on such a grand scale and have a government position? I mean, it seems logical to me that they shouldn't. And we know that these Islamists have been telling us for a while now that they are trying to use democracy to destroy democracy. Now, how much obvious does it need to be at this point that she's telling us this openly? Any idea that she advocates for should probably be pushed back against, because it is most likely a delusion and an infiltration system. Now, also, I'm going to read this tweet to you because I want you to get the full context. C3 says, wait a second. The thing we were told doesn't happen, just happened. Shakir Khan, 41 completed and sealed mail-in ballots, 71 names registered to his address. Now multiply Khan by tens of millions. Voter fraud is staggering. Past the Save America Act. So apparently it's actually happening now. This is not just a theory. There's actually convictions about it now, allegedly. Right? I haven't dug too deep into this story, but wow. Wow. If this is happening in America, look at the state of England. And many people are wondering, how is Starmer with such a low approval rate in office? Yeah. How is Sadiq Khan with such a low approval rate in office as the mayor of London? How is Mamdani? You know, how are all of these Muslim mayors across the United Kingdom? Some big questions to ask, right? Very big questions. And this recently came out, this situation here. Asylum seekers preparing to cross the channel say Home Secretary's reform will not deter them. And look, this is the attitude. This is the attitude of people coming over into the United Kingdom. From where? France. Yeah, from France. And I'm going to show you a clip later on of how clueless the United Kingdom police are. In fact, you know what? I'm going to find that clip right now and show it to you, because I think it's unbelievable how so many people don't understand that France is not war-torn. France is not a country at war right now to be fled from. But Muslims come over to the West, they get to France, but for some reason they want to get from France to the UK to claim asylum. Yeah, and this is how clueless the officers are.
Do you know the reasons behind why they're coming here in the first place?
Where are they coming from? War-torn France?
Not all France.
They do. They all come from France on a boat.
They're all from different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they fled through 13 safe countries on the way.
Not necessarily.
I've been over to Calais. I've seen it all with my eyes. So I don't.
Yeah, but they're coming from countries that, exactly like you said, are war-torn countries. So
France isn't. Is it?
But then that's.
You see, clueless, absolutely clueless. That's they just try to make excuses. They really don't care. They're just there to just do, quote unquote, do their job, which they don't seem to be doing.
At the end of the day, if they come here, like, this is what has happened at the minute.
Yeah.
So it's just.
But maybe in their country, gang rape's normal.
At the end of the day, it's about keeping everyone safe, isn't it? So.
Well, you say that, but a woman's been gang raped in a churchyard, so no one's kept safe.
You're speculating about what's happened.
Yeah.
When you don't know anything yet, so you just need to.
We only know what's happened, don't we?
If you go on get your phone now, go and have a little look.
On Facebook, yeah. What Facebook is it?
Thames Valley Police. And that is where you will get your updates about everything, okay?
Right.
But like I said, for now, whilst you've been asked to leave, you'd be trespassing if you go back on, so.
Yeah, but it is a civil matter, isn't it? Trespass.
Depends if there's aggravating factors.
It's not aggravated.
No,
you're just standing there filming.
But we do get people come up here, and it's fine if you want to protest, but you're not.
It's not a protest, is it?
Exactly, I was going to say it's not a protest.
It's not a protest.
So you just
I'm here with a camera reporting on the local news.
That's fine.
Yeah, and this is something I've noticed. Anybody who disagrees with their perspective or is just there to report from a perspective that doesn't agree with their narrative, they're apparently protesting. And then they look for violations in law to somehow arrest them. It's such a totalitarian state right now that it is unreal. And unless you're in the United Kingdom and actually doing some form of activism, you probably won't realize to the full extent of how oppressive the current government are in the United Kingdom. But it is literally a totalitarian state. If you was to go out into a protest and say something that they didn't like on those days, they would try to find a way to arrest you.
Yeah,
just can't do it.
I've been to another place before here,
But like I said,
Discovery.
everyone
Yeah.
has got a right to safety, and these people at the minute have a right to safety as well. Without
But
people
they're not.
coming.
They're not.
Sometimes we
They're
can
not
get-
unsafe while I'm here, though. I'm just here asking
But
questions.
sometimes they are unsafe from other people that's been up here. So
What with cameras? You think someone's going to come with a camera and try and make people feel unsafe or alarmed or distressed?
well, it does cause a lot of heat, doesn't it?
Wait, walking someone with a camera causes a lot of heat? Oh my.
Why do you think it causes a lot of heat?
Because like now you're speculating something that's already happened. and
Speculation is totally
associating
natural.
it straight away. With...
Well, that's because of what I've seen in the past, though.
Okay, but that's exactly
Real
like
life
you
incidents.
just said. It's what you've seen in the past. But at the minute, like I said, your information that you are requiring,
Yeah.
if you go on Thames Valley, then you will get all the information there.
There should be another update coming out today. If you type in TVP Churwell,
Type in on Facebook.
just in Google, and it will go to the Facebook page, and it should
What's
the
that?
last just say TVP Churwell, and then the top result, and it should have, because I literally checked it just before we came out from yesterday.
Oh,
That's the
this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
there,
there'll be
and
another
there, there'll be updates throughout the
Excuse me.
day if you keep an eye on there, and it will.
Oh, you've even left the comments on. Not often they do that. They usually turn the comments off, don't they?
But like I said, as long as you're fine to be here, as long as you're not causing harassment, alarm, and distress.
No.
Nearly over, but I'm just going to finish up this clip.
I'm not.
And if security's asked you to leave, then just
Yeah.
make sure you're obviously off the boundaries.
But yeah, we just want to make that clear. You can record anything, just can't go in.
Yeah.
Is it really 100 meters from Bamboo Police Station, from that churchyard?
Yeah.
So there you go. That is the state of the United Kingdom right now. Now, I want to head into a story out of America of this man here on the right who you see, Hassan Piker. Now, I can't actually show the clip of what he did because it is that insane. But he was basically giving instructions to his community, this man on the right, who is a left-wing Muslim, on instructions of how to build certain things to do terrible things, right? You read between the lines? Okay. And at the same time, he has the audacity to call out this streamer here on the left, who, bear in mind, he does swear a lot. So if you don't like swearing, you might want to mute for the next minute. But he has the audacity to call him out for calling him out. It's just mental. And this guy's walking around freely in the United States right now, whilst basically radicalizing his entire community of young, impressionable viewers on Twitch.
It's so funny because, like, I suspect that at this point he has probably purged his community of all, like, the fucking normal-brained, like, liberals and stuff.
Yo, Hassan, actually go to the logs and go see who's banned. We ban nobody. It's timeouts for spam shit and bans for things that would actually fly in your chat. The people will get banned for words, for things that is generally offensive, right? That flies in your chat. My chat is better moderated, yet less moderated than your chat. Think about this. Think about the idea that it's better and at the same time less moderated because there's less radicalization. How hard is that to do, little buddy? You had to put your chat in emote-only mode when you were reading some terrorist propaganda bullshit on your stream because the chat was sympathizing. They were.
Okay, so just in case anybody here doesn't quite understand his accent, he's basically saying that this guy on the right, the Muslim leftist, had to put his chat, like you see this live chat we're having right now, he had to turn it off so that people couldn't speak, but only use emotes, only use emojis like hearts, smiley faces, that kind of thing, whilst he was reading Islamic propaganda, because his chat were basically agreeing with it, and they were inciting and they were doing all kinds of wicked things. So that's the context. Yet he's still on Twitch. Yet he's done all of these atrocities. He's still on Twitch. And people who have done far less are banned off of Twitch. There's something strange going on.
Sucking dick of fucking terrorists. Your chat was so sloppy toppying, terrorist mindset. You had to go emote only mode. That's how bad your chat is. And you come to me? What a fucking joke, this clown.
Even like
Bozo the clown CEO of this bitch.
Audience that he has.
Bro, he says people has no knowledge. What do you know? What the fuck do you know? Terrorist glazer.
By the wayside.
So yeah, he's promoting terrorism. And this is a theme that we see repeated in left-wing propaganda, left-wing streamers, left-wing so-called influencers. Now, Metatron, he actually has a very good take on this. And I want to read it to you. He says, Hassan has zero self-awareness, just like all radicals. I think the deletion of self-awareness is a requirement of radicalization, for sure. It has to be part of it, I believe also. It's part of propaganda systems to have a justification, a reason as to why you can do and say awful things, but it's fine if you do it because the recipient is dehumanizing word. And this is something that we've seen repeated, right? They will call people, racist, bigot, Islamophobe, or insert dehumanizing word here in order to justify their own insane radical ideas that are calling for the destruction of other people. It's unbelievable, absolutely insane. And that's what we're witnessing across the world. We see this, Sneeko doing the same thing. Look, putting tweets out supporting Khamenei and saying Khamenei possibly set the trap that will win the war. Now, we know that Sneeko likes Khamenei. He's on the side of Khamenei. So if he's saying that, oh, this is maybe the trap that will win the war, whose side do you think he's on here? What person do you think he wants to win the war? He's against the West. He's anti-West. Ever since he became Muslim, he has become anti-West. And there's something very, very wrong here. Now, recently, Tommy Robinson, as we spoke about earlier, got over to the United States. And he actually calls out Tucker Carlson. And I want to show you this and show you something about Tucker Carlson that I discovered recently that is genuinely mental.
Understand, because I hear commentators in the United States talking about a Muslim-Christian alliance. Yeah, you come to Europe and tell us about a Muslim-Christian alliance. You come into Germany, or you go into France, or you go into Sweden, and you tell us about this Muslim-Christian alliance. You ain't going to get one. They might have a little alliance with you when they're at 1%. Trust me. Yeah.
Well, they could lie to us, of course, yeah. And
they are lying to you.
Yeah.
But they're not lying to you.
Yeah.
Your own commentators are lying to you. Tucker Carlson's lying to you. I'm just telling you how it is. I've watched him. Tucker Carlson come into my country.
In your opinion, yeah, that's how you.
It's not my opinion. It's not my opinion. It's a fact. Tucker Carlson is lying. Tucker Carlson come into my country and said, "There's no problems here." What do you mean there's no problems here? A whole generation of our daughters are being raped. What do you mean there's no problem? Islam's all right because my taxi driver was nice. Yeah, well done, Tucker. That's right, isn't it? Qatar's great. Yeah, it's great. Great. They're funding every terrorist organisation in the world. £1 billion, as I said. Most of the problems I see in my country. Do you know Qatar? I went in, when I walked in to do an Al Jazeera speech, you can go and find this interview. I went in to go into the Al Jazeera building. France had just been blown to bits in a terrorist attack. The money come from Qatar. I walk into Al Jazeera's head office, which again is just a propaganda machine on behalf of Islam.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what Al Jazeera is. It is a propaganda machine on the side of Islam. It pushes Islamization of the West continually and tries to sugarcoat anything that is exposing what Islam is truly doing across the Western world and across the entire world, actually.
Okay, that's what it is. I went in to Al Jazeera's office and I had to go through all these metal detectors everywhere and security everywhere. And then I sat down and said, "You cheeky bastards. We're out there on the street. They're killing us in every European country. You're funding it. And then you sit in here protected by all you've literally got a military here to defend you when the people that you're funding are in my country desecrating it. So again, Tucker Carlson has no idea what he's talking about. If I'm honest, I watch and look and think, come to the UK.
And you know what I actually want to say about Tucker Carlson? I agree with Tommy that Tucker Carlson has no idea what he's talking about on one hand. But on the other hand, I do believe that he is far more educated than he shows. And a lot of what he says is deliberate. It's to muddy the waters. It's to confuse. It's to deceive. I do believe he's ignorant, but I also believe he is a sellout. Now, if you want to know why I believe this, just take a look at this picture right here. For those of you who know what this is, then you know exactly what this is. And it should tell you exactly what is going on with Tucker Carlson. For those of you who don't, just do a little research into the checkered flooring, the two pillars, where this may be, what ideology these people have, who they worship. And when you find that out, you'll know exactly who Tucker Carlson is. Now, something regarding the left-wing commentators. On the other hand of things, something amazing is happening. Because recently, the black community was targeted by these left-wing communists to be used for their ideologies to be pushed. But now you have some very, very intelligent, black mixed race podcasters who are calling out exactly what is taking place. And this is incredible because it shifts the focus onto what is really the danger. And that is ideology. Take a listen to this.
Multiculturalism has not worked. Yeah. Multi-ethnic is fine. Multiculturalism is not working. Yeah, not working.
And what is the difference between the two?
Well, multiculturalism is when you come from a country that has a different set of rules, different set of laws, different set of ideals of surrounding religion, and then you're enforcing those things within your communities or ghettoizing an area. For example, like Birmingham is a prime example. You get outliers. So, for example, you've had Labour representatives in the Birmingham city area literally controlling foreign policy when it came to the Tel Aviv Maccabi match in Birmingham, where they are actively saying, you're not coming into the country because of our views and because it's a Muslim area, you're not coming in. Since when did a local MP in Birmingham decide foreign policy?
Just saying the issue isn't people coming here from different countries and migration, different ethnic backgrounds. The issue is people coming from different ethnic backgrounds. We're bringing their cultures into a new country, which makes no sense. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world.
No,
it's happening here.
And the reason why it's happening here is because we are appeasing certain groups. We are soft on policy. We refuse to draw a line in the sand. And if we keep doing that, it's just going to keep getting worse until eventually, unfortunately, there's going to be civil unrest.
So yeah, I do think it's actually amazing that we have very, very intelligent commentators that are reaching out into the Black community, out into the Hispanic community, and educating so that their race doesn't get deceived by these left-wing propagandists. Because sadly, that has been happening for such a long time. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I personally believe that this is why we are witnessing such a different target of propaganda. They're no longer really going after the Black community. They're no longer really going after the Latino community. They are going after what? Pushing Islam. Just outright allowing masses to come into the United Kingdom, into the West, and then allowing them to push their ideologies. You know, we have people such as Keir Starmer sitting up there and just, you know, if you saw it at the beginning of the live stream, it's just 20 seconds. I'll play it again.
But on Iran, I want to make clear the UK was not involved in the offensive strikes of the US and Israel.
The point is, he is pandering to the Muslim community, whilst there are Palestinian, you know, members of government there. And that's what's going on right now. They've completely switched the playbook. Now, this man here, he is called Jake Munro, and he actually has a take that I want to show with you. He believes that this is what World War III is going to be.
This is what's going to lead to World War III, man. Everyone's like, oh, Iran and Israel, like, oh my God, World War III. Not even fucking close. You want to know what World War III is going to be? It's going to be triggered by the UK reclaiming itself, and in doing so is going to trigger World War III. It's not going to involve the Middle East. It's always World War III for them.
What do you think about that? Because I think he could be onto something here. Now, I hope that this is not true. I hope that this doesn't trigger World War III when the UK reclaims itself, but I'll keep playing it.
Okay? World War III specifically is going to involve Europe and other white dudes, okay? Because it's only a world war when we're doing it. Rupert Lowe is going to win a civil war on the streets of the UK. It's going to be all of the imported invaders finally dropping the mask and going full-on conquerors and invaders and savages that they are, versus white men in England reclaiming their fucking birthright and becoming Templars on the Crusade again.
Now, I'll be honest. If this does happen, I don't think it will only be white people. It will be everybody who is non-Muslim. Anybody who is non-Muslim will be like, oh, well, I'm not going to side with an ideology that wants me to, well, calls me the worst of all creatures. You know, that's the only input I would put in there.
Okay? It's going to be fucking mayhem. It's going to be the purge. And depending on what happens there, scenario one, the white British man wins. They retreat, but not back to the Middle East. They go to France. They go to Germany, they go to Spain, and then you're going to have the captured governments of these European nations then turn on the UK. Okay? They're not on the white European side. We know this. They want to erase Europeans. They want to replace them. Europe is then going to turn on the UK. The UK is going to retaliate, and then America is going to get involved. And then it's going to be America and the UK versus Europe. And Europe is going to be liberated. World War III is going to be Americans and the UK versus Europe, trying to maintain its duty, its orders of replacing Europeans.
So that was a take that I really felt, well, intrigued to show you, because I believe that he has some points that are definitely valid. Not saying he's hit every nail on the head there, but definitely some points have been hit on the head right there for sure. Now, why I'm showing you this as a segue is because Restore Parents are now calling to ban all Muslim MPs. So it ties in with that theory quite well. People are calling for the banning of Muslim MPs. We see lots of no-go zones across the United Kingdom. We see a mass awakening in the world stage of people realizing what Islam really is, what it teaches, what their false prophet taught. And a major pushback starting to happen. We have Tommy Robinson a very well-known activist in America, waking up America in a way that America needs to be awakened. Meanwhile, the UK has a political party that could actually push back in a way that many believe is necessary. And we have this now happening, right? In Reform, Clive Furness just defected to Reform UK from the Labour Party and has been made a candidate for mayor of Newham. He's just another leftist. Sadly, Farage will take anyone these days. So now we have the Reform Party taking on ex-Labour politicians. It seems that there's a lot of confusion taking place in UK politics, and most people don't even know what's going on the surface level. So when you look at it on a deeper level, how much do you think people are really going to understand? Not much, right? That's why these channels are very important, and I greatly appreciate your support, and I hope that you do value this content. If you do, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. It's free. Subscribe, because recently there's been a lot of, I'll put it this way, strange behavior on my channel. Like, I went into my analytics. I'm going to continue on, but I want to tell you this because I think it's important you know what's been going on recently with my channel. My videos are always net positive on subscribers. So I can see how many subscribers I've gained from a video, right? I can also see how many subscribers unsubscribed from a video. Last month, I had a net positive. I've always had a net positive on my channel, but somehow my subscriber count went down. I reached out to YouTube and asked, what's going on here? How is this even possible? No understanding, no reason for it. The analytics say that I should be in a net positive, but somehow I'm in a net negative. I went and did a lot of research, and the only plausible reason for my subscriber count to go down, even though I've gained more subscribers, is because YouTube have been doing something called purging accounts, which is accounts that have broken their rules, they have banned. Now, the only way I would be in a net negative of subscribers is if over 1,000 accounts were banned in the last month. So think about that. So in order for this to really be the reason why my subscribers have gone down, that means 1,000 people who were subscribed to my channel got banned off of YouTube in the last month. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this channel. It greatly helps out. Now moving on back to the video. Now, this is what the Telegraph posted. Britain braces for surge in Iranian asylum seekers. Now, we knew this was going to happen. We knew that if the United Kingdom went into Iran, that there would be Iranian asylum seekers, or were included in the war, or if this war even happened. I personally believe we should not accept a single Iranian asylum seeker. I don't believe we should accept any asylum seekers from Islamic countries. It's just not plausible at this point. Let me know if you agree with that in the comment section below. Now, Ben Habib has a take that I want to share with you.
Yesterday, I did a little piece to camera explaining how Keir Starmer wasn't going to war against Iran, not because of foreign policy concerns, but because of his concern as to how the Muslim communities in the United Kingdom would react. And absolutely bang on cue, last night, Keir Starmer invited various members of some Muslim community or the other to the Great Hall in Westminster to celebrate Iftar with them. And he spoke to them proudly about the fact that he had refused to join our ally, the United States, in the war against Iran. And that is the proof you need, if you needed any proof, that our Prime Minister is not dancing to the tune of British national interest, but dancing to the tune of Muslim militants in the United Kingdom. And this is what I say to all MPs who've spoken out against the war against Iran. You are standing for militant Islam in this country. If you've spoken out against that war, if you think the United Kingdom shouldn't join that war, you're effectively supporting militant Islam. You may think you're not. You may think you're doing some kind of greater good by absenting yourself from the battlefield, but actually what you're doing is taking the knee to a militant force which needs to be defeated.
Let me know if you agree with this.
Not just in Iran, that force needs to be defeated in the United Kingdom. Get a grip, folks. Understand what's going on here.
So yeah, definitely a perspective that I felt led to share with you. And now a lot of the black community in America, across Africa, are waking up to this as well.
Well, there's no way Islam is a real religion. Like, there's just no way. Like, if you read one page of the Quran, it's like, what is going on here? this can't be real. You know, they think that in heaven, there's going to be young boys, youthful boys, serving them wine while they're deflowering 72 virgins. And no many, how many times they deflower them, their virginity will remain intact. It's like, this is just a Diddy party. This is a Diddy party. This is the Diddy religion. How do you get your family together on a Sunday, wherever they go to the mosque, and we're like, all right, let's go and pray and read the Quran so that one day we can make it to this Diddy party in heaven? It's like, do you guys talk about this in the mosque, or do you guys skip this part? Because it's like, there's no way.
Well, there's no way. I agree. There is no way. No way. And now a lot of the people in Africa are leaving Islam, and look at how they get responded to when they leave. This guy's had to cage himself in. Yeah, so he left Islam and he had Muslims coming to his house trying to break down his door because he didn't believe in their cult anymore. Unbelievable. Now, some good news, actually, there's a lot of good news, but some more good news happened. The Manchester Islamist Vigil for Khamenei. If you watch my previous live stream, you'll definitely know about this. But if you don't, Manchester in the United Kingdom was holding a vigil for Khamenei. There was also vigils in Australia, all across the world, but it was crashed by proud Iranians and locals celebrating and waving around portraits of Donald Trump. Manchester stands against hate. And here's a quick clip from that. So yeah, that didn't really go to plan for the people who wanted to celebrate a literal terrorist. So hallelujah for that. And I want to show you this beautiful clip because it might be unrelated, maybe it's related, but it was pretty touching and emotional for me. So I would love to show it to you also. This is Charlie Kirk, a statue of Charlie Kirk getting wrapped by the American flag. And yeah, may he rest in peace. Even watching it again now, it's kind of emotional. He was such a powerful voice for truth. Whether you agreed with everything he said or not, it's irrelevant, right? He promoted Jesus Christ. He was somebody who was for freedom of speech, somebody who wanted to talk about ideas, and he was taken from this world because weak-minded, evil people couldn't handle that he was actually on the side of truth. And that's a sad thing, you know, that's a very sad thing. But on a positive note, we have more and more people waking up and doing exactly what Charlie Kirk was doing to a certain extent, just speaking the truth.
There seems to be a repetitive pattern of what inspires terrorists to commit terrorist attacks. I expose how terrible Islam is, so make sure you follow me. The terrorist attack in Nice, France was conducted by a Muslim. The 2017 Paris attacks were conducted by Muslims. The reason they have to check our shoes in the airport is because of a shoe bomber. He was Muslim. There was the underwear attacker. He was also a Muslim. The terrorist attack in Orlando on the nightclub. He was a Muslim. The Westminster attack. Muslim. Boston Marathon bombers, the Manchester Arena bombers, the Pan Am bombers, the Fort Hood shooter, the Beltway snipers, 2005 Bali bombings, the murder of Lee Rigby, the USS Cole bombers, the London Bridge attack, the Madrid train bombers, the Charlie Hebdo attacks, the San Bernardino attacks, all Muslims. 3,000 Americans dead on 9/11. Muslims. Beirut Marine bombers, Muslims. The reason it's all Muslims attacking Western societies is because they truly believe that we're infidels and apostates. And they go and actually do this because they believe that their God is going to somehow reward them for killing all of us. And the solution to minimize this or to completely stop this is the same solution that we've been saying for a while now. Stop importing people into the country that fundamentally hate you.
I mean, that should be pretty logical at this point, right? If somebody fundamentally hates you, why would you allow their ideology to be in your country? Why would you import that? Makes no sense. And the left are also being confronted by the black community in America as well, which is what I was saying. There's a massive awakening happening right now across the entire world.
And literally, if you have any part to play in the American military industrial complex, literally fuck you. I hope you never make it home.
Wow.
I'm so serious.
This woman is a traitor to our country and a disgusting human being who does not deserve to enjoy how amazing America is. We live in a country where we have freedoms that the revolutionaries in Iran, for example, have been risking their lives for years to have for themselves. And the only reason we have these freedoms is because we have brave men and women who fight enemies like the Islamic regime to defend and protect us. For someone to use that freedom, their freedom of speech, to wish that those men and women who are fighting for her don't come home is just, it's evil. And what's even worse is how corrupt our culture has become to where she has people in her comments who are agreeing with her. This is the result of the fact that so many people in Gen Z have never learned about the realities of the rest of the world, never had to face hardship themselves, and were never taught to appreciate this country that has made their lives so easy and so amazing. And this is so dangerous because when people decide that America isn't worth defending because they take what we have for granted, that is when our country is really at risk. Honestly, I wish I could trade all the people who feel like this for all of the immigrants and refugees who want to come here because they know how amazing America is. Like if you...
Now, I don't know if I agree about that part, to be honest, but I think what she's trying to say is she would rather have immigrants who support America and who are not supporting evil than leftists. But at the same time, I don't think anywhere in the Western world needs immigrants right now. I think that it's time to actually stop with this idea of immigration and focus on restoring the country back to a civilized society built on Christian values. Let me know if you agree with that, because it seems pretty logical to me. But with that being said, it's definitely great that a lot of people are waking up to the alliance between the left and Islam, and how the left seem to always pander to anything Islamic and ignore anything in Islam that goes against their own ideology. It's clearly a delusion, a very dangerous illusion, actually.
Come back to the Lord. No matter how many times you fail, get up. You have Christ. He is waiting.
Now, I want to show you a clip from Benjamin Netanyahu. And I know that some people love him, some people hate him, but this channel here is to be neutral in reporting and giving you the full story. So just because I show something on a video doesn't mean I agree or disagree with it, by the way. Maybe I agree with this, maybe I don't. The point is just to show you what is taking place and people's perspectives.
There is great danger, and it's time to act. The good guys need to act early enough. And there are those leaders, so-called leaders, who don't see it. And they just sit back and they say, oh, well, it's a terrible thing. No, it's not a terrible thing. To protect humanity, to protect America, to protect Israel, to protect the free world from this theological thuggery, these fanatics who don't care. We just export death, mass death everywhere. There is.
So yeah, on this channel, we're about the truth. This channel is for people who genuinely think for themselves and you're not sheep. Like, oh, you showed a video of that, you must be that. So let's keep it that way. Let's keep intelligent people here, because clearly we have built a very intelligent community here. And that's what I would love to keep building. Now, this is a funny tweet. It says, never deleting this app. You know, Cenk, which many call Chunk, he actually said this. Taquilla sounds like a small Mexican dish I could eat in East LA. And then he said he's an atheist. So this guy is insane. Like, there's no way to debunk him being insane anymore, because he literally claimed to be an atheist here. Now, either he is an atheist and he is using Islam to further his left-wing ideology, or he is Muslim and he is trying to deceive this guy here. Either way, he is a deceiver. He is a wicked, unstable man. And, you know, the left is just imploding at this point. I mean, this is something that this woman on the left said a while back. She said Charlie Kirk deserved what he got. And then the same person put this tweet out. I think the hardest part of the political climate right now is realizing how many around me are actually evil, not stupid, not misinformed, just blatantly enjoying and relishing in the suffering of other human beings. Now, let's just analyze this for 30 seconds. She said that Charlie Kirk deserved what he got and then condemned herself in the exact same platform, Twitter. Now, this ties in with exactly what Metatron put out earlier. Remember? Hassan has zero self-awareness, just like all radicals. I think the deletion of self-awareness is a requirement of radicalization. It's part of propaganda systems to have a justification, a reason as to why you can do and say awful things, but it's fine if you do it because the recipient is add dehumanizing word. And that's exactly what this woman just did, right? She perceived Charlie Kirk as something dehuman. So she feels justified and completely cognitively dissonant from this reality that she's projected out there. And that is the danger with the left. They do the same thing, and that's why their alliance with Islam is continually built, because there's a very weird psychological concept that is taking place in their minds where they don't even grasp that they are siding with something that openly wants to destroy them. But because their hatred for the West has blinded them to what Islam is, they just side with them. And that's why I'm very happy that a lot of people are waking up now. Now, do you remember this guy? Remember this guy, Harman Singh Kapoor? He said he's not going to serve halal in his restaurant, and he's been receiving a lot of harassment recently, but it's got a little bit worse in more recent times.
Someone unscripted here. These immigrants will never learn. They will always live in the past. They are fucking cavemen.
So they spat on his glass now. Now they're actually vandalizing his property because he doesn't sell halal meat. I mean, we've already gone over this multiple times. Halal slaughter is cruel. It's objectively cruel. If you want to see more about that, go over to my Twitter profile where I show, you know, very, very in-depth analysis of these types of things, which I can't show on YouTube. But my Twitter profile is this right here, Saint AVS on Twitter. Same as my YouTube channel. And it's just sad, you know, people who don't want to serve halal meat are being harassed, having their restaurants spat on, having the windows smashed, having just mobs stand outside the restaurant and tell people not to eat in their restaurant and stuff. It is madness. Madness for a 7th century cultish ideology that is not even real. It's not even true. Man. And do you want to know something even more insane? Like, this is laughable, right? This is absolutely laughable. The police in Scotland, Edinburgh. Do you remember this situation that happened the other day? I did a live stream on it of that guy who hid in the tower block after he did that atrocity. Well, they're claiming he was 23 years old. Sorry, I have to laugh about this. Oh my. They're claiming that this guy right here is 23 years old. I mean, this guy is like my granddad, bro. There is no way this guy is 23 years old. Are you serious? Are you serious? I mean, let's get some estimations in the chat. How old do you think this guy is? Let me know what you guys think. How old do you think this guy is? There is no way. There's no way. Yeah, he can't even pass for 43, mate. There is no way. 53, 45, 42. Bro is 65. Exactly. There is no way. Yeah, he's got dentures in. Exactly. There's no way this guy's 23, mate. 20. Are you telling me that if you go to uni, you're gonna see this guy just chilling on the campus like he just came out of college? Oh, mate. This is the police, by the way, tweeting this. This is not just trolls on the internet. This is the police. Yeah, I just had to show you that because 117. Yeah, I can't deal with it, mate. I really can't anymore. It's like we have to laugh about it. Like, we have to have some good vibes here when we're going live. I don't want it to be a negative environment. We're all on the pursuit of truth, of exposing the works of darkness. But let's have some fun while we do it, because we don't want to be depressed doing this every day. Do you know what I mean? I'm planning on doing this every day. So we got to have some laughs. But yeah, that's the guy, man. 23-year-old. 23-year-old. Oh, mate. And we got another one. We got another crazy story coming out of the Daily Mail. Yep. Islamic teacher who did this to an 11-year-old girl, which was apparently taught in the Quran, was spared jail because his wife doesn't speak English. Yeah. If I had a mic, I would drop it now, but my mic's being held up by a stand. I have the urge to flip it over because this is the ultimate mic drop situation. Can you believe that a man is being spared from jail because his wife don't speak English? Like, was that the defense of the lawyer? Oh, Your Honor, but my client can't go to jail because his wife don't speak English. How is she going to manage in England? Yeah, that's what we've imported into the West. And that is the state of the judicial system in the United Kingdom. And, no matter what you think about Iran, what's going on over there, this guy here, the Shah, who many Iranians want to be put into power for the transition period. Well, he even admits in this interview that he doesn't want power. He just wants to be there to transition. Let me know what you think about this.
You don't want to be king.
I'm not running for office. I'm not.
Are you saying in this interview that you wouldn't lead Iran?
That's a different thing. They trust me as a transitional leader, not as the future king or future president or future whatever. I'm totally focused on my mission in life, which is let me bring the country to a point that they can make that free choice. That will be enough for me having said mission accomplished.
You imagine peace with Israel?
Of course. In modern history, Iran actually gave refuge to Jews that were escaping the Nazis during the Second World War, giving them refuge and sanctuary in Iran. The strategic importance of having a partnership with Israel is critical.
What are the principles on which you would build a new Iran?
I think what today unites us are 4 core principles that I think is the subject of how we can work together towards that end. Number 1 is Iran's territorial integrity. Number 2 is the clear separation of religion from state, which is a prerequisite to democracy, and we paid the price understanding what it means to live under a religious dictatorship. Number 3 is, of course, equality of all citizens under the law and individual liberties. And most importantly, the process, a democratic process to allow the people to elect and decide what their future system of governance should be.
What would happen to the nuclear weapons program?
I think it should be totally dismantled. I don't think Iran has any need to pursue a military weaponizing of the nuclear program.
So yeah, very interesting take. You know, when it comes to foreign policy, such as what's happening in Iran, I would rather the Iranians decide. But at the same time, of course, we have to, if we're able to, support them in their transition period to free them from the Islamists, because, I mean, we're meant to do unto others what we want done unto us. I'm pretty sure that if you was oppressed by Islamist, insane freaks, that you would want somebody to help you if there was someone who could. So that's what I believe about that. But I don't believe in putting boots on the ground from the United Kingdom. You know, Liam Tufts said this, and I agree with Liam Tufts on many of his posts. Hopefully he comes to Christ. He says, Britain used to be beautiful. Now third world style killings on the streets are so common. It's sad. It's really sad. The people record the murders live and upload them to Snapchat. Yeah, that was leaked recently on Twitter as well. What the have we become? Mass deportations now, or more Brits will leave and the UK will become. So we're basically in a position right now where we have to decide what happens as British people and Americans and Europeans. And I personally believe the solution is nothing to do with race. At the moment, it is to do with ideology. And the ideology that is being used right now in such an insane way is Islamism, is Islam, is the Quran, is the Hadiths, is Sharia. All of these ideologies are interlinked, interconnected, and there's no way to separate them. That is what needs to be banned from the United Kingdom, from the Western world. Let me know if you agree with that in the comment section below. And I greatly appreciate everybody who tuned in. I plan on doing a lot more live streams on a more consistent basis now that I am back to my home and out of London. If you do want to support my independent journalism, feel free to check out my website, www.saintavs.com. Get some of these cool things that I make. And if not, feel free to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, all of those good things. It's free for you to do, and it greatly helps out the channel. And I'll see you on the next one. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Shalom. Shalom.